Welcome to CBC Windsor News at 6. I'm Meg Roberts. Thanks so much for spending part of your evening with us tonight. We're learning more about a fatal collision on a rural road in Chatham, Kent. 2 women are being remembered for their love of animals after stopping to save a turtle. Plus, Windsorites with Iranian heritage are reacting to the death of Iran's president. Some say he exercised cruel human rights while in power. And police in the region held a safety meeting today for those who will spend time on the water this summer. Chatham Kent police say 2 women were fatally struck by a vehicle in Chatham last weekend. The women were trying to help a turtle cross the road. The CBC's Dawson Chen has more.
The deaths of Teresa Saliga and Elizabeth Cermak on May 18th came as a shock to their loved ones. But the revelation that the 2 women died trying to save a turtle did not.
My whole family just said, yeah, of course they were. The fact that they saw this turtle on the road, my entire family, including my extended family, were not surprised at all that that's what they were trying to do. It was always their nature to help any living thing.
A love for animals is mentioned in the obituaries of both women. Close sisters, they emigrated from Poland to Canada in the 1990s and settled in Cambridge. Teresa Saliga and her husband moved to Blenheim about 7 years ago to retire. Her sister Elizabeth visited regularly. Teresa's daughter says kindness and gentleness were daily habits.
Never ill-mannered, never ill-intentioned, and extremely patient and caring. They were best friends. And I think they're representative of trying to care for one another, whether that's animal that's on the side of the road or another human being.
The deadly collision remains under investigation. As of Thursday, no charges have been laid. According to Chatham Kent Police, the 2 women stopped their own vehicle around 7 p.m. on the side of Charing Cross Road, a 2-lane rural road with an 80-km/h speed limit. Both women exited the vehicle to assist the turtle in the roadway and were struck by a northbound vehicle. Almost all of Ontario's native turtle species are endangered or threatened. According to the Ontario Turtle Conservation Centre, thousands of turtles die on provincial roads every year. The centre received around 2,000 injured turtles last year alone. The centre's chairperson says that while turtle conservation efforts are necessary, staying safe is paramount.
A really important consideration that we stress to all of our volunteers is always human safety first. It is a very busy time of the year with lots of turtles moving across roads all across the province. But our key message is always people first and personal safety first.
A funeral service for Teresa Saliga and Elizabeth Cermak is taking place in Chatham on Saturday. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
A security guard at St. Clair College has been terminated from his job, according to the company he worked for. This comes after the guard was recorded denying a woman wearing a keffiyeh entry to a campus building. The keffiyeh is a checkered scarf typically worn in Arab cultures that has come to symbolize solidarity with Palestinians. The incident happened a week ago. Here's the clip that was posted to social media.
Scarf, you're not coming in.
I'm not coming in because I'm wearing the scarf?
The scarf? I know what it means. You're not allowed in here.
So I can't check up if my friend is in the bathroom because I'm wearing a keffiyeh?
Right.
What is your name?
Recording.
What is your name?
Have a good night.
I'm not. Can you please check if my
Close the door.
Can you check if my friend is in the bathroom? Certainly. Okay.
In the video, the guard can be heard telling a woman she was not allowed to enter a building because she was wearing a keffiyeh. A St. Clair College spokesperson said as soon as they learned of the issue, it was addressed with Paladin Security. The college said the incident does not represent the values or policies of St. Clair College. Paladin Security also says the guard's behavior does not represent the values or policies of the company. They also said they've apologized to the woman. Iranian Canadians in Windsor are reacting to the president of Iran's death, with many of them previously protesting what they say was cruel human rights abuses under his regime. As the CBC's Dale Molnar reports, some hope this will spark movement towards a freer society.
We have been doing this every week. We are trying to be the voice of Iranians in Iran, protesting for freedom, human rights, and for a revolution to happen in Iran.
Reza Ali Rezai has been vocal in his opposition to Iran's regime under Ibrahim Raisi. He is now happy Raisi is gone.
I am kind of happy, and as many Iranians are, about what happened. You know, a lot of them believe that it is a form of justice to all those innocent civilians died during the protests in Iran and the Women Life Freedom protests and revolution.
Raisi died last Sunday when the helicopter he was flying in crashed. The news of his death is also welcome news for Ali Rezai's friend Ismail, who says he was taken into custody by authorities in Iran after a protest 10 years ago. He calls Raisi a terrorist.
He's killer. He's killed a lot of young men and a lot of people in my country.
The two demonstrated against the execution of two protesters in Iran last December and have also protested the death of Mahsa Amini, who died after being arrested for not wearing a hijab. They both are now looking to the future with optimism, but say change won't come overnight. Ali Rezai says the interim president is the right-hand man of the current Ayatollah.
So I don't see any much change in the near future, but hopefully with the persistent protests in Iran and the help from the West and other countries, we will see the fall of the regime.
I think it's better for Iranian people change all the government. That's good for the Iranian people, and the Iranian people have to have a referendum to the choice, to choose which person or which government is better for us.
Elections will be held next month to choose a new president in Iran. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
It's Safe Boating Awareness Week, and summer is right around the corner. Today, several police and boating agencies gave the public some tips to be safe out on the water. It comes after a fatal boating crash near Kingston over the weekend that killed 3 young adults.
So it's important to get everybody together because we train with them year-round. So we want to share their messaging as a member of the maritime community here in Windsor, Essex, to make sure that everybody's taking the opportunity to reflect on and be safe on the water.
Safe boating is not just a one-week program. Safe boating is a 365-day-a-year program, whether it be in Canada, United States, or around the world. The Canadian Safe Boating Council has 5 really easy mission statements. Wear a life jacket, be sober, be aware of cold water awareness, take a boating course, and be prepared, you and your boat.
And we're just looking for people to wear those devices because when you're in the water, it's now too late. So that's the message that we like to say is that 80% of those people that are involved in water deaths or drownings either weren't wearing a life jacket or weren't properly wearing their life jacket.
We're 24-hour search and rescue. We're all volunteer. If a call comes in, we send out a crew. Anytime that there's a maritime emergency of any sort, whether it's a vessel collision, vessel fire, somebody in the water, a vessel taking on water, all that kind of stuff, those are relatively common calls that we're going to go out to. So if it's reported to the Joint Rescue Coordination Center in Trenton, then we get a call out if we're the closest available asset, and we go out and try and save some lives.
Our main message is safe boating through education, but we also go out to the public with our recreational vehicle courtesy check, where we help the boaters make sure they have the proper safety equipment to be on the water, and we just ask for the minimum equipment. And so often that people don't have proper life jackets, don't have flares, don't have licenses for their radios, things like that. We don't give out fines. We're trying to help them to be safe out in the water. It takes a while to know what you need to have, and the best way to figure out what it is you need is to take a course.
Erie Shores Healthcare in Leamington completed the first MRI in its new mobile unit today. It's located in a trailer outside the hospital. The mobile unit is a temporary measure until the hospital's permanent MRI suite is finished by the end of this year. It's meant to reduce wait times and enhance access for diagnostic services. The unit will operate 5 days a week and 8 hours per day. Ontario Health and the provincial government are providing some money toward the project. Unico and Primo Foods has donated $1 million. The hospital says it's reached nearly half of the $5 million cost. Windsor City Councillor Mark McKenzie has announced he's seeking the nomination of the Conservative Party of Canada. Mackenzie wants to represent the new riding of Windsor-Tecumseh Lakeshore in the upcoming federal election. He was elected as the Ward 4 councillor in October 2022. In a statement, Mackenzie says affordability is the major issue prompting him to run for federal office. He also noted safe neighborhoods, housing, and being tougher on criminals as other priorities. There are 4 other people running for that Conservative nomination. The riding of Windsor-Tecumseh is currently represented by Liberal MP Eric Kuzmierczuk. He was officially confirmed as the party's candidate for the riding last summer. Former Spitfires coach Mark Savard has parted ways with the Calgary Flames as their assistant coach. Savard joined the club's staff last year after 2 seasons coaching in the OHL. He was also an assistant coach for the St. Louis Blues for the 2019-20 season. The 46-year-old from Ottawa played just over 800 NHL games for the New York Rangers, Flames, Atlanta Thrashers, and Boston Bruins before retiring in 2011. He totaled 207 goals and 499 assists in the NHL. It was a day of Canadian sports history. The Women's National Basketball Association officially announced its expansion to Toronto. It's the first WNBA team outside the U.S., the CBC's Chris Glover reports.
It took a lot of hands to make this work, but today, more sports history was made in Toronto.
I am honored to officially announce that we have awarded the City of Toronto the 14th WNBA franchise.
The Women's Pro Basketball League, the WNBA, is expanding outside the U.S. for the first time. The league's commissioner says she picked Toronto after a successful preseason game at Scotiabank Arena last May.
Lots of people coming up to me and saying, thank you for making my dreams come true by bringing a WNBA game here. That's when I knew this is the right place as we're thinking about expansion.
About 30 years ago, the men's league, the NBA, chose Toronto. Many credited Larry Tannenbaum for making that happen. And now, decades later, the history maker strikes again.
This is all possible because of Larry Tannenbaum.
The owner of the Raps will now own Toronto's WNBA team too. Determined to make it Canada's team, he says home will be the Coca-Cola Coliseum, but games will be played in Vancouver and Montreal, part of his mission to inspire girls across the country.
But these young women never saw someone like themselves on the brightest stage playing the sport they love. Now, the WNBA has changed all that. And today, we're changing that here in Canada.
The team will start playing in 2026 under team president Teresa Resch, the former Raptors VP of Operations.
When we get to go across, coast to coast to coast in Canada and play these games, it's going to be incredible, and we can't wait to see everybody around the country really show up.
Several of Toronto's most celebrated basketball icons were in the audience for the unveiling, including retired WNBA champion, Hall of Famer, and 2-time All-Star Tammy Sutton-Brown, who grew up in the GTA.
Wow. I always hope for this day. I think as an athlete, you look forward to playing in front of family and friends, and I always wish I could play on Canadian soil. I wasn't able to, but the Canadians that are playing in the W right now will have that opportunity, and the future Canadians will have that opportunity. So this is a really, really special day.
And it wasn't just leaders in sport tapping into this special day.
Just the glory of it is huge. Proud to be part of a country that uplifts women in sport.
Do hereby proclaim May 23rd, 2024 as WNBA Day in the city of Toronto.
The mayor officially putting today in the history books, already laying it up for Toronto's next pro team.
And I'll work with City Council to make sure that we are ready for another huge championship parade.
The kind of pressure from a proven, relentless fan base that every Toronto pro team has to get used to. Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, I think this week might go down as one of the nicest May weeks of all time. Beautiful day today. We have another nice one coming tomorrow. Your full weather forecast coming up after the break. It's an incredible sight of nature, but only for those who don't mind insects. A rare occurrence is happening with cicadas that has not been seen in centuries. The 13-year periodical cicadas are going to pop up at the same time as the 17-year brood. It's the first time in 221 years the two will overlap. All this to say, more than 1 trillion cicadas will emerge from the earth in parts of the U.S. The insects spend years living underground before emerging together briefly to mate and die. Well, and if that turned your stomach a little, cicadas also emerge sooner in warmer weather, and we've had lots of that. Victor Paula with your weather forecast.
Another beautiful day in Windsor. Now, we're talking about potentially breaking a record yesterday, and the record was 31.7. But we ended up reaching a high of 30.5, just short of the mark. But at the end of the day, we're all winners because it was a beautiful day. Now, today was similar, but not as hot, not close to breaking any records. The record for today is 31.7, but we don't think you've reached anywhere close to that. Now, taking a look at what else we have in store for the weather, it's going to be a cool night tonight, which is going to be much needed change from all of those warm temperatures we've been having over the last couple of days. Now, the summer-like heat will continue all the way through till tomorrow. And I do say summer heat, even though we are still in the spring season. And we are expecting a bit of precipitation when it comes to your weather this weekend. We're expecting a bit of rain to start your Saturday, but nothing too big, nothing too long to really impede any plans if you have any outdoors. Now, taking a look at some average temperatures for today's date, well, your average high is 22 degrees, your average low is 10.7. But for today's date, your highs was 28 degrees and the low was 12. So you can see we're still above seasonal temperatures. But for when it comes to this time around May long weekend for the Windsor area, we tend to be above seasonal. It always seems to be almost a preview of what the summer is going to feel like. Now, taking a look at what's happening for the long-range forecast, we can see that your Friday is going to be pretty clear with that high-pressure system, which is over a majority of southern Ontario. But as we get towards your Saturday morning, you can see that rain is going to pass through, but it's not too big. And as I mentioned, it's not going to last too long because right around lunchtime and for the rest of your day, it's going to be another clear sky day where you get to feel and see that sunshine. Now, taking a look at the rainfall and how much rain will be passing by when it comes to your Saturday, well, not that much really. As we talked about, around 5 millimeters at most, but surely going to be under that. Now, when it comes to tomorrow, as mentioned, 28 degrees, similar to today, almost in the 30-degree area, and it's going to be a beautiful day in store. Now, taking a look at our 3- and 5-day forecast, well, as mentioned, we're going to be still near that 30-degree mark. It's going to be around 26, 28 degrees for our high. Our low is going to be 16 tomorrow, which is going to be warmer than what we're experiencing tonight. But Saturday's going to dip right back down to what it'll be like today, around 12 degrees. And as we get ahead towards the rest of the week, we can see that Monday and Tuesday will bring us some precipitation. Hope you enjoy that beautiful weather we have tomorrow and enjoy that cool night. Over to you, Meg.
Thanks so much for that, Victor. A bill just tabled will allow Canadians to pass citizenship rights down to their children born outside the country. We have that story coming up. A new government bill tabled in the House of Commons today would allow Canadians to pass citizenship rights down to their children born outside the country, a move that would add an unknown number of new citizens and reverse a decision by the federal Conservatives under Stephen Harper. Rafi Boudjikanian has more.
Catherine Burton worked for the Citizenship and Immigration Department for years, but though she is of Mi'kmaq descent, she is not born here. That has consequences for her two boys.
There's only one passage of the Canadian citizenship, so thereby my boys could not receive citizenship, albeit they are status First Nations.
That's due to a change in immigration law brought in under former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, meant to crack down on so-called Canadians of convenience, facing pressure after Ottawa paid $85 million to extract Canadian citizens from Lebanon in 2006 during a war between Israel and Hezbollah.
This isn't, again, a free-for-all. This is truly about a technical fix to a bill that should have been done a while ago.
But instead, it's been a long time coming. The Liberal government fought a legal battle against reversing the move, only getting a court order last December to end the cutoff.
We want a citizenship to be fair, accessible, with clear and transparent rules. Not everyone is entitled to it, but for those who are, it needs to be fair.
Mark Miller is proposing the foreign-born children of Canadian parents who have spent 3 cumulative years in this country would become Canadian citizens. His legislation has the NDP's backing.
I've talked to family members where their children are deemed stateless, lost in the system because of this unjust, punitive, unconstitutional law.
But it's not clear how the Conservatives will react. They say they're still studying the Liberals' proposal. Also unclear how many people would be impacted by the measure. The immigration minister suggesting there could be thousands. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
A worldwide shortage is making the price of olive oil spike here in Canada. It comes as growers in Europe grapple with drought, wildfires, and other effects of climate change. Aaron Collin looks at what consumers could expect as experts warn of further hikes.
Dubbed liquid gold by some, the price of olive oil is surging on shelves across Canada. But that spike, no deterrent for some.
You don't need a lot, and to be honest, I'm willing to pay the price because I'd rather have the quality.
Still, rising olive oil prices have other shoppers thinking twice.
It's almost getting to the point where, you know, if it gets worse, then you just won't buy it anymore.
Drought in Europe devastating olive crops, driving the uptick in prices.
Retail prices in Canada on average have gone up 25-26% since January.
And experts say climate change means high prices could be here to stay.
I think it already is considered as a luxury item at the grocery store. It certainly is a luxury vegetable oil.
That dry weather in southern Europe impacting olive crops there.
We only produce about 25% of the olive oil that we normally produce.
And business at this Alberta-based company that produces olive oil in Greece.
Challenge because it's more expensive to produce it. We now have to invest a greater capital, but also a challenge to sell it to customers.
Back at the market, a warning that prices could go up again in the fall.
They're predicting around a 45 to 47%, so almost 50% increase.
And some advice for those facing olive oil sticker shock.
So if people are struggling with the increase in the price of olive oil, is there anything they can do?
There's a couple of options. They can either purchase an olive oil that is maybe not extra virgin, maybe just a virgin olive oil, or they can opt for a blend of olive oil, like this one right here is a mixture of sunflower oil and olive oil.
Like all gold, cheaper when it's diluted. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
Every brewery needs 4 main ingredients to make beer: malt, yeast, hops, and water. No, you're not watching the wrong video. Sewage from this water treatment plant in Germany is a key part of the project called Reuse Brew. Of course, the water goes through 4 rigorous stages of purification before it's used to make beer. But let's not rush to the nearest store just yet. It's still a proof of concept. The company is using it to demonstrate sustainability in the face of water shortages due to climate change. Those who tasted the batch called the beer delicious. Well, that's it for CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, for news anytime, you can go to our website at cbc.ca/Windsor. You can also download the CBC News app for stories that matter most to you. And don't forget to watch The National tonight at 9 on CBC News Network, 10 p.m. on the CBC News app, CBC TV, and streaming on CBC Gem and CBC Explore. Thanks so much for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you back here tomorrow night.